Welcome to Arizona Longtails. My name's David and I'm here with my boat, the Silver Bullet. We're going to be focusing on bulletproofing the boat, in this case, silver bulletproofing the boat. We're going to be working with the Mud Skipper 2 to 7 horsepower longtail kits. I just want the kit to be reliable, have no issues. So that's the bulletproofing we want to do, especially once you're in the water. You don't want to have a bad day. So today's episode is going to be upgrading the bushing to a brass bushing. So I'll show you the parts list you would need. The instructions are fairly clear. I imagine it should be less than a 30-minute project. Follow along and like. The Mud Skipper kit comes in a sealed bag. It comes with 2 items plus the instructions. This is the brass bushing, and you can see how it has a groove the grease could actually go into. Brass is a softer metal than steel, and it withstands heat a lot better. So that's where it beats the Durlin bushing in life expectancy. See if that's a clear shot of the grooves inside the bushing. So it comes with the bushing. It comes with the Zerk fitting as well. It doesn't tell us any information on the thread count. The most common Zerk fitting is a 1 1/4 by 28 NF. It does come with the tap, and it comes with a specific size drill bit for the tap. So this is one of the parts that would be nice to buy beforehand when you order this kit as well. So when you have everything, you have all the pieces needed. The installation of the bushing is going to require drilling on the shaft and then drilling through the brass bushing so you can get the Zerk fitting to feed grease inside the inner part of the bushing, because that's where the metal to brass is going to be spinning, and that's where you want that lubrication to be happening. So that's where the Zerk fitting will be feeding grease to the inside. On the outside, the shaft doesn't spin around it. It's the shaft inside that needs the grease, and that's the design of putting a Zerk fitting. The instructions are fairly basic. Removing the Phillips head screws. Those hold the Durlin bushing in place. Pry it out with a flathead screwdriver. Reinstallation of the brass bushing, drilling, tapping, inserting the Zerk fitting, and then just the finished product. So that's going to be basically what we're going to run through and seeing what additional tools you could have. You're going to require the prop nut socket that came with your Mud Skipper kit. It's a 13/16 end. This is a gear puller. You'll need a Phillips, flathead. You'll need a hammer. I'll post the link where I purchased this on Amazon for this kit. You'll need a crescent wrench, and the specific tool looks like this. Got the square end where it tightens down, and you could use this to use the tap. But I'm going to use a crescent wrench just to show you guys that it can be done without. It's not the ideal way, but in the sense of keeping tools or costs down, I'll show you how to utilize that. You'll need your grease gun, so you can grease it after you're completed. We're using the Lucas Oil Red and Tacky No. 2 multi-purpose grease. It's been working good for us. Additionally, with when you're doing the tap, you need to have it lubricated as you're doing the action or tapping out the hole. So WD-40 would work. I have this similar penetrant oil, but WD-40 is probably what most people are going to have in their house. You have your brass bushing, your Zerk fitting, and then some tape, electrical tape or masking tape. I'll show you later why you'll need the tape. And you need your power drill. The first thing you want to do is remove your prop nut. You got your prop nut tool. Enters there. I lost the pin, but you could use any pin to go through. When you turn it, you are going to be turning the whole engine. So you could either try to hold it to unloosen it, or at times you might need to set up a piece of wood, perhaps what I have, to hold the prop down while you tighten down the prop nut. Got the lock washer and your brass prop nut. This is a real basic gear puller. So this one they considered a 6-inch pulley. So that's probably as close as the shortest you might want to go. since this one barely maxed out, is reaching it. For the video, I already took this apart, but and you can see how it pops off. So once it loosens, you remove the nut, and you can remove the prop. So this is this disassembly part. The next is removing the Duralin bushing. So for the Duralin bushing, you have to remove these two Phillips head screws. So what these screws are doing is actually just holding the bushing in place so the bushing doesn't spin with the shaft, that it stays in place with the outside tubing. So now comes the fun part of pulling the bushing out. So here it goes. So I ended up removing the shaft because I was starting to eat away on the bushing. I don't want to get too far out. So I was trying to see if I remove the set screws, if I could remove the shaft, and that might help in removing the bushing. So with those 1, 2, and the 2 that are originally removed, allows the shaft to fully come out. Hands are dirty. So came out about 1/3 of the way before it seems to hit something, but that should be sufficient for me to come at this angle and try to see if I could now grab the bushing with these pliers, hoping this should free up a bit more without that shaft in there. Alright, so I've decided to remove the shaft and see if I could put it in reverse, since this diameter is bigger than the exit of the shaft, and maybe hammer the bushing out that way. So to get right now, I've been kind of doing like a hammer pull. There we go. All right, we got 2 of them. All right. So I guess these help the shaft from having too much play inside the tube. Imagine that's where the 2 top set screws were holding these 2 down, and that's what they were keeping from spinning as well. So the set screws hold these in place so these don't slide all down and you get too much play on the top side. And this is where it engages on the coupler. Alright, well, I think I messed this up a bit. These are made out of actually wood, now that I broke one. Broke the first one, and then the second one, thinking maybe they would just slide in. I'm gonna have to see what I'm gonna do to fix that. So that's where I'm at. I'm probably gonna break this one off. Still want to get this bushing out. Once I get that out, I'll probably still install the brass bushing on it. You know, finish the drilling, the tapping, the zerk fitting. And then from there it's just all reinstallation, putting the shaft back in. Yeah, at least hopefully this could help you guys out, knowing that, you know, if you do pull it out, what you're expecting. Duralin, I know, is really hard plastic, so I imagine some fight, but you know, I was hoping to get the bushing to spin and maybe I could unscrew it in that motion. I probably wouldn't recommend pulling the shaft out, given these are wood, because when you reinstall it, it's going to be another issue that you're not going to be able to fix. You know, it's for me, I like knowing the internals of these things. The same thing how we're going to find out the internals of the Predator motor. It's good knowing where the weak points are, what could be upgraded if needed, you know, what's going to be reliability in the long run. And I do see where this could be improved.